Drama awaits, only on Echoes of Love. The adventure begins with Kong, a struggling girl who lived alone with her father and worked at all kinds of jobs to earn a lot of money that she spent at home to help her father and also to support her fiancé and his family. The important thing is that one night while she was working as a driver, someone asked her to give someone a ride, so she went to him and found him to be a young man lost like that from too much drinking. She was about to put the seatbelt on him herself but found that he had regained consciousness at that moment and said to her, "Who are you?" "Girl, you're not the one who usually drives me." She told him, "Sorry, I'm not free." She asked him, "How do I close the sunroof?" "Because I opened it by mistake." He told her, "Never mind, leave it." So she left him and continued on the road. Suddenly a girl appeared in the distance who had caught his eye, and he said to her recklessly, "Stop," in the middle of the street, and ran after the girl. When he failed to catch her, he came back to her saying, "I'll finish the driving." Of course she prevented him because he was drunk, and that is dangerous for people's lives. When he insisted on going, she threw the key into the river and ran out. He could no longer tolerate her, but in the end he returned to his beloved's house and slept while remembering their memories together. He had broken up only 6 months earlier. He had been involved with a simple girl and they lived here together and were happy, until his father learned about their relationship and refused it, of course, because he would marry him to someone of his level whose family is rich. The girl then became frightened and knew that he was still weak and would not be able to protect her from his father, so she disappeared. Since then he became destroyed, and every day he threw parties and stayed up late and came back unconscious like that. The important thing is that when he woke the next day, he found his father ordering him to go to the airport to pick up a girl from a very rich family who had been his childhood friend, because her father wanted to marry them. And of course his father wanted that too, so he went to receive her and told her about their family's plan and that they would get married like this and so on. He also showed her the ring he had bought for her and she yielded. Of course, he left, and as he was exiting the airport he found the gate open. Our heroine had also gone, and it was said to be a wonderful coincidence, and suddenly he gave her the ring and ran. She could no longer stand him and saw him as mad, but she said, "I will ignore him because today I don't want to spoil the celebration," because today was the 7th anniversary of her relationship with her beloved who had grown up for her and become a great public prosecutor. And she was proud of him and his family was proud of him too, to the point that his mother began to want him to break his engagement with the heroine and marry another educated girl like him, and every time she insisted she actually forced him to meet one of the women. This time the heroine was at her parents' house. Despite all that, she continued to clean for them and cook for them and wait on them, and that led his mother to politely dismiss her, so the heroine returned to her home and brought the special celebration cake and celebrated alone and then sat crying. Then she touched the hero's ring, and when her father saw it he remembered her beloved who had proposed to her, and she closed her eyes in joy. "Oh, my father." But after that a real apparition came to her and took her to a party at the cafe they used to love going to long ago, and he went and proposed to her and appeared noble, unlike his mother, and sat saying that he loved her and that she was the reason for everything beautiful that had happened to him, and that literally she was the reason, she was the one who brought him the car, for example. The important thing is that in the same cafe she stood watching them, happy, and imagined if she too were to marry the one she loved and called him. The hero answered her and was still talking to her. He also made fun of his father, so he quickly showed compassion and knew that the right decision she had made was to run away, especially for the sake of her child in her womb, to protect him from the hero's father's oppression. When he learned that she was the one who had called, he sent his assistant to the cafe. She fled quickly and hid, and at that time the heroine and her fiancé were in the car. To avoid the big car that would have crushed them, in order to avoid the stupid fiancé, he turned quickly and unfortunately hit the hero's pregnant beloved. He got out quickly to see what had happened to them because it was night and raining heavily, and when he saw the girl he approached to make sure she was alive and walked unsteadily to call for an ambulance. He was not a brave man like his mother exactly, and he ran away from her. When the heroine got out to check what happened, he said to her, "It's nothing, ma'am," so she believed him and they walked on, and they found the hero's beloved lying there. They discovered her after a full 3 hours, and the ambulance came to take her, and the hero collapsed when he learned and ran to see her condition quickly and became very sad. When he saw him like that, his fear increased more and more after he had returned alone to the accident site after the heroine had arrived. The important thing is that he went back to his house and said, "I will not do anything from here." As for our hero, he was devastated when he learned that she had been pregnant and unfortunately the fetus had died. No, moreover she died after she opened her eyes and bid him farewell. He was shocked that he had lost her in this worst way. He quickly ordered his assistant to find out who had done that. In the investigations, after they reviewed the nearest camera to the accident site, they found that 3 cars passed by the location, including the victim's car, and they were informed that the car was registered in her name, so they went to speak with her, but she no longer understood anything. But they told her she was not accused or anything and asked if she had been the one driving the car. The foolish girl went and told them, yes, why? Because she remembered last night that when her beloved asked her to go to notify what had happened to them on that road, he quickly refused and told her, "I am drunk and afraid of punishment." She said, "Don't say you were the one driving," and it seemed that the case would be handled by him since he was the public prosecutor, so he panicked when he found her included in the file and suspected as well. He quickly went and said to her, "Why did you say that you were the one who drove?" She said to him, "Nothing will happen, I was protecting him." He told her, "Run away," because she was now accused of murder and that she had hit someone intentionally and fled, so she did not understand him much. She understood the next day when they investigated her and found that they had indeed charged her with that. What increased their suspicion of her also was that she had repaired the car from the collision quickly and in an unreliable place. She told them that the person who repaired it was a mechanic she knew because of the defendant, and they said to her, "Which defendant?" "You brought your fiancé." "Sorry, I must stay within the text. They found the victim's blood on your car and learned that the victim was a girl like you and also pregnant, so she was shocked and stunned, and the hero surprised her in her face standing in her way. She still did not understand his relationship with the one who had died, of course, and thought he was crazy about her as usual. So she stepped away from him and said to him, "This is not your time, I will return your ring to you later." He said to her, "What do you mean later? There is no later for you," and he tried to kill her. The police officers who shouted to her, "Just hold on for me and we will destroy you. This expression is not appropriate but I preserve the meaning," saved her. The first thing one of them did was bring some people even in front of him and told him to give her the harshest punishment. But then he learned of their relationship and that he loved her. He told him, "You must punish her and let the law take its course." It became difficult for him and he went and told her that they would summon her today for interrogation, so she prepared to go and became hesitant about leaving her father. For this reason he took her to buy a jacket he had wished to buy for years. But suddenly her father disappeared, and when she looked for him it turned out he had gone to her mother's grave, so she stayed with him there. When she returned she found the officers arresting her in front of him because she had not come by herself. The man was shocked and when he learned of the case he hurried and took money from the Dub family and took it to the mother of the girl who had died to give her a piece and to tell her that her daughter certainly did not mean to kill the girl and her fetus. She said to him, "Are you crazy?" and affirmed that her daughter must be punished and humiliated as she had harmed her daughter. She went and threw the money in his face. The man, while gathering it, got into an accident, and ever since then he lost his sanity because he could not find his daughter by his side. As for our crazy heroine, Due herself sentenced her to 5 years in actual prison. From the very first moment, the other girls in the cell began to harass her, which caused her to lose consciousness in the morning, and that's when they discovered that she was indeed pregnant. When the hero learned this, he was shocked by the sudden coincidence. Meanwhile, Due would write him letters from time to time to reassure him about the child she had born, and she lived with him in prison as well. Due began visiting the prison regularly to check on them. When the hero learned about this, he felt annoyed because they were happy, and he wanted to bother the heroine even more. He knew she could be released this year with good behavior, and said, "How can she be released after 2 years for killing my beloved?" He went to the unfeeling man to tell Due, who refused to allow her release. That same day, they found her son injured, and they suspected her of hitting him, taking him away from her. She then discovered that it was her closest friend who had done it, and she was shocked. The entire prison erupted into conflicts over her. When she tried to distance herself and take her son, she suffered a terrible burn from an iron, and they also beat her, saying, "Be quiet, you will never have your son again." She endured the last 2 years of her sentence with sorrow and loneliness. When she was finally released, Du came to meet her, and she sat crying in his arms. At that moment, the hero saw this and became upset because she was going to live her life normally, and they still loved her. What she did not know was that the first news she learned after her release was that her son had died in the orphanage, leaving her utterly shocked and nearly losing her mind. She went to prepare the ingredients for a cake, literally unable to see anything in front of her, unaware that the hero was watching her. She prepared the cake for her son as a celebration, because if he were alive, it would have been his birthday. She continued to cry alone, and the hero saw her. He felt sad at first, but then, remembering that she had deprived him of his beloved and his son, he began to hate her more and more. She tried to move past it and follow her mother-in-law's advice to live for herself and her father, but she could not get any job because of her criminal record. If her friend hadn't brought her to work as a waitress at a party, she wouldn't have found an opportunity. There, she encountered her beloved, who panicked because he knew the hero would also be there. He hid quickly, and she said to him, "My being here embarrasses you, right? Okay, I'll go." She indeed left to reassure herself and then went to watch Cian, who she discovered admired her. Unfortunately, though, she was now publicly almost the hero's fiancée, and he knew very well there was no comparison between her and him. The party was not free from Cian's great admiration of her. She even decided to sing at the party for the hero, but could not do so until the end. When the assistant Haji informed the hero about the heroine, he ran toward her. At that time, the Dianons attacked her store, intending to destroy it for the money she had taken, and would have harmed her if the hero had not arrived and rescued her quickly. He explained, "It's not because of the beauty of your eyes, but because I paid off all your debts while you were in prison, so you can handle the remaining money." She asked him, "What do you want from me? Why are you chasing me?" He told her that whatever happened, it would never repay what she had cost him. He then told her that he wanted her and her father out of prison by the weekend, and went to Cian, who had been pressuring her, and intensified the pressure. All the while, the young man did not know she loved him. He thought she treated him merely as a friend, as she had always done, which hurt her deeply. Our heroine was happy about this, but when she found herself cast aside, she told him that the building owner had asked her to leave and she did not want to tell him that the hero was behind it. He told her to go sit with her family, which she did. His mother became angry and could not tolerate her, and pressured her along with her father, who had discovered he was very ill and needed urgent surgery. The heroine decided to sell the temporary ring she had from the hero to secure the money for the operation. At that moment, she was arrested. The hero's stepmother began scolding her, saying, "How dare you sell something belonging to our family? You're definitely a thief. How did the ring even get into your hands?" The hero came and told her he had given it to her. The heroine was shocked and began apologizing, explaining she had done it only to cover her father's surgery expenses, and begged him to help. He agreed to provide the surgery money, but it would be added to her debt, and she felt saddened. Then Du arrived with Cian. The hero suggested they eat together, but he began to pressure them. When she got up to end it, Yunf came and awakened her, asking, "Why are you getting so close to the hero?" She replied, "He's helping me only for my father's operation." She returned home to find her father missing. During this period, he had been disappearing often, and she could not reach him alone. Du brought her a gift, a bracelet containing all his information, to reassure her that he would find her and return. Thanks to God, she found the man, and he was surprised when she said, "You are treating my daughter well." She admitted to him that it was the hero who drove the car on the day of the accident, not her, and he realized the truth. The heroine was terrified for her father, and when she received a call that he was in a nearby city, she rushed to him. There, she met the hero, and both were shocked to discover that her father had died in the street from the cold. She was deeply saddened and pulled away slightly, though she had been pleading for him. In the end, she attended the funeral from afar, and he saw that she was smiling, he knew she was in pain and hiding it. When she returned home, she hugged her father's jacket and cried. That evening, he went to her store and found her unconscious from exhaustion. He feared for her and took her to the hospital after ensuring she was safe. After she regained consciousness a little, she began looking for work. By chance, she saw a store selling products from her prison companion, who she had hated at first but was now her friend, and helped her secure a job. The heroine was happy because she could now repay her debt to the hero. She went to his company to talk to him. When he saw her, he tried to avoid her, knowing that Cian was still embarrassed by her. The heroine spoke in the middle of the discussion about the debt. Suddenly, she saw Cian and instructed security to take her out, saying, "It's not every time you come out under the pretext to stand with him." She left the company and found her companion who had hurt her son, and as soon as she called her, the companion ran to escape. A girl collided with the bicycle, and the heroine sat down to apologize to her, but the girl left the bike and ran away. The bike carried some false flyers, and the heroine, who had been arrested, wore these flyers, which put her in a very difficult situation. She immediately contacted Du, who came to rescue her from this problem. At that moment, he was with Cian and her friends, but he left them and went to help her get out of the station. The heroine was completely exhausted and asked for his help very carefully. After Du left, the heroine found the hero talking to her, and he was heavily intoxicated. When she approached him, she saw that he was attempting to drive despite his state, so she tried to stop him just as she had the first time they met, saying, "Don't be like this." The hero thought about what had happened with his previous beloved and fainted. The heroine then took him home with her. The next day, the hero woke up angry, saying, "Why did you bring me here?" When he saw her preparing breakfast for him, he teased, "I haven't eaten for 3 seconds," even though he was actually eating and had not invited her. At that moment, the heroine discovered for the first time that he was kind on the inside. Once reassured about her, he left for work. While looking for a job, she came across a store selling counterfeit products, run by her former prison companion, who had hated her at first but had now become her friend. Her companion helped her and secured her a job, making the heroine happy because she could finally repay her debt to the hero. The heroine went to the hero's company to give him the money she owed. When he saw her, he tried to avoid her, knowing that Cian would still feel embarrassed around her. The heroine was in the middle of explaining the debt when she saw Cian and instructed security to escort her out, saying, "It's not every time you come out under the pretext of being with him." When leaving the company, she encountered her former companion who had hurt her son. As soon as she called her, the companion ran to escape. Later, another girl collided with a bicycle, and again the heroine apologized, but the girl left the bike and ran off. The bike carried false flyers, and the heroine ended up wearing them, creating another problem. She called Du to get her out of this mess. Du, who was with Cian and her friends at the time, left them to help her, and the heroine repeatedly summoned him for help. Afterward, the heroine found the hero speaking to her while drunk. When she approached him, she saw he was driving, and she tried to stop him as she had the first time, saying, "Don't be like this." Thinking of what had happened with his previous beloved, he fainted. She took him home with her. The next day he woke up angry. "Why did you bring me here?" When he saw her preparing breakfast for him, he said, "I haven't eaten for 3 seconds," and the heroine discovered his inner kindness for the first time. Afterward, the hero went to work and sat in a meeting, trying to communicate with her. Cian noticed and became very angry. Later, Du understood from their conversation that the hero and heroine had broken up, so he went to tease her through dialogue, not knowing that it was the heroine who had left him. She continued defending him, saying, "Even if we separated, when I found you exhausted in the bakery, I ran with you to the hospital." The next day, by chance, the heroine went to the hero's house for work because his stepmother was requesting counterfeit bags, which she traded with her friends. When she saw him, she tried to leave to avoid being recognized by his stepmother, but he pulled her along to go together. Cian, who had begun to genuinely like the heroine, approached her to tease the hero, but at the same time got annoyed seeing her with him and pushed her away, saying, "Stay away from him." She told him she had to meet the hero to repay her debt, and he agreed, letting her go. Meanwhile, the heroine's former companion confessed that she had not actually hit the son, she had pretended to prevent the heroine from leaving early. The heroine was surprised and discovered the truth. She continued crying for her son, accompanied by the girl who had been shocked by the child's death, but tried to hold herself together and went to help Mama G at her work, even though Mama G considered her responsible for her daughter's death. She persisted in helping anyway. At one point, the hero noticed that the heroine helped Mama G and pushed herself despite hating the smell of fish, which impressed him with her kindness. However, he remained jealous of her and loved her at the same time, realizing she understood both his situation and Mama G's, because she had felt the oppression of losing her own child. Later, the hero discovered recordings from an accident that had occurred 5 years prior and returned to search for the truth. Over time, he felt that the heroine had not been the one driving that day and began to suspect. He asked the public prosecutor for additional information but could not confirm due to the rain washing away most of the evidence. He was furious, thinking the heroine had caused his beloved's death, unaware that other people had been responsible. He went to the heroine, who was working for him, and asked if she had seen his beloved and failed to help her, leaving the heroine frustrated by his behavior. She went and told him, "Yes, I saw her, and she also forgot, mind your own business," which angered him a great deal because he thought she was innocent, so he went and took her by force and told her, "Come with me on a little trip," and they made her wear a dress. At that moment the redness appeared, which pained him, so he brought her another dress, dressed her, and took her to a celebration, thinking that would provoke them about her, but he was surprised to find Shaun there too, so he left her for Shaun to understand. She told him that he had become obsessed with revenge and would destroy himself over the lover who died and the one she had killed. At that moment, to his horror, the hero's friend was touching her provocatively, and when she refused him she was publicly humiliated and thrown out, literally shaking, all of that in front of those depraved people who did not utter a single acceptable word or show any human reaction. The hero, out of chivalry, punched his friend in her defense. At the same time, he was the one who had brought her to be humiliated, so do not think that he is naive or completely foolish. The important thing is that when Shaun saw her doing all that for the heroine she did not hesitate. She went and convinced all the managers to vote with her to remove him from the board of his hotel, and Bot was shocked when he learned of it and, of course, began mocking his son. The hero went and learned that Doss had helped Shaun with this step, so he grabbed him to beat him. He told him, "Since you hover around the heroine like this, I will destroy you." This came after he had mocked the heroine, of course, and told her, "Stay away from the hero," which convinced the hero from his words and threats that there must certainly be something going on between him and the girl, so he went to her and kept pressuring her until she confessed, and he ended her spiritual life to the point that she voted for people and told them, "Yes, I am the one who killed this man's beloved, leave him to have mercy on me." Then she ran from him and her life ended in death. At that moment she was hit by a car and was stunned. What would she want to hide from him and put herself through to the point of harming herself like that? In any case, she was not severely harmed. And when she later passed by him and he refused to show her his face again, he asked to have mercy on her and leave her alone. But he kept his assistant watching her from afar. At that point the surveillance was obvious. Her friend noticed and told her, "He loves you very much, don't let the assistant take care of you." She was fed up, so she spoke to him through the assistant and told him she would disappear completely if he did not stop bothering her. The idea is that she is naive. She went and ultimately worked at the restaurant where her friend works. She did not know that the owner of that whole restaurant chain was the one who had agreed to hire her in the first place so he could watch her from a distance without her seeing him. And honestly she was happy that she had found a job and was cheerful, and she herself was happy. In the evening Daw visited her and gave her money to give to the hero to pay off a debt, meaning that at first she had refused. But when the hero came back to attack her every now and then she gave him the money and told him to leave her alone. That day she prepared a fan she needed and fled to the countryside. Meanwhile, he went to the company and found that Doss had erased recordings from the employees' car cameras going back 5 years. That caught his attention, so he ordered the recovery of what had been deleted and found Doss extremely frightened. When he learned this news, he told him that he was very close to discovering his secret and the secret of the woman who had been his fiancée, who, once he knew she had disappeared, he searched for her too and went to her place. When he saw her, she told him to go, but he of course did not care, and he returned the next day as a new customer in the shop. She grew tired of him and threw him out of the restaurant and told him to calm down and go, that she was fed up. He told her he had come because he worried about her and that he did not hate her in his life, so why are you running away from me? God willing, I'm not a man, and she was not affected by these nonsense words even though his feelings were real. He told her, do you believe me? I will have the sweetheart fired from my work. And in fact, folks, Doss and his company was stronger than him from the start because he had been the one who had fired him from the company. But of course she did not know that, and he was able to deceive her. She went back with him and he took her to the restaurant and returned in the evening to drive her home. Meanwhile, all the workers of the manager began to think she was an important person because the restaurant chain owner had stood up for her in front of them. He was indeed sensitive toward her and cared for her sincerely. To the extent that when he learned that Dossie would be coming to the restaurant that day, he told her to go, but she insisted on working. At that point Du saw her, as did Shaun, who, of course, began to grumble about her because of the hero's usual attention to her. Then he took her aside and yelled at her, saying that he had given her the money at first to keep her away from the hero, so why are you working for him? She was embarrassed and said, that's for you, my love, and could not answer because the hero interrupted her, and they remained at odds because of her. When Shaun heard that, she grew angrier and angrier at her and decided not to pay attention and he would take care of pushing the heroine away. But she did not pay him any heed. That night, after she drank with her friends and was hugging her father's jacket as usual, she discovered an important paper. It was a receipt cashed the same day her father died, but a few hours before his death. And he had been here, not in the village where they were found. So she went to the market and a woman told her, your father was indeed here and he recognized me and greeted me. Then a young-looking man came and took him, and after that she does not know what happened to him. She continued walking along the road searching for a camera to know who took him. But what delayed her search was the hero himself, who that time asked her to serve him at his house, so the wronged girl agreed, and at that moment she met his sister through the food and his assistant, whom his sister kept asking, is he his older brother? She said, what a love. He told her, he loves ramen cups, and she found him. Then the hero came and sat with them and made her relax in his room, and at that moment she found something signed by him. And the signature was the same as the signature of the person who brought her to the hospital, so she began to remember and knew that it was he who had brought her, not Do. She felt closer to him and worked happily, while he watched her posting. He also remembered when he saw her posting in prison as well, and that his son was beside her, which was very hard on him because he had died. The important thing is that she returned cheerful this time and also found her vile friend coming to apologize to her once again. After that, Du asked to see her outside and told her to stay away from that vile hero. She said to him, okay, I'm fed up. She entered the storeroom and found that vile friend saying to her, he was the one who told me I would ruin your life in prison so you wouldn't get out early. She was terrified and more terrified when she watched the surveillance recordings from the day her father died, and she found those monsters taking her father out of the car in the dead of cold and rain and leaving him in the street. And it was the car bought with their own money in the first place. What a betrayal. There is not a single normal man in the series to unite people. The hero is backward and, as you see, the heroine's fiancé is not a real man. The important thing is that out of fear of the shock she went to their old house and sat banging her head against the wall because she had not noticed all that and that perhaps he had somehow killed her father. So the hero came, not understanding anything at all, and began to greet her. It seems we judged him too quickly, and perhaps he is not stupid or anything like that. The important thing is that she then gradually regained consciousness after the hero's encouraging words to her and went to speak with Du, who had security throw her out, so she waited for him in the rain and stood in front of his car as he was returning home, so he had to take her with him and she attacked him with everything she knew. He told her about her father, that he had not been obliged to return the car to him, no, by God. And regarding the fact that he made her spend the whole time in prison, he told her, by God, nobody told you the truth to sacrifice for my sake. She told him, do you believe you were not raised? And she vowed she would take revenge on him and he would see. And because she knows how much he hates the hero and that he is right about that. She went straight to him, completely immersed in her emotions, and he cared for her, asking how she was. She told him that Saeed was taking revenge on Das, and he didn't understand what he had done to make her act that way against him, but he said, it doesn't matter, anyway, this quarrel works in my favor. The next day, he took her directly to the company and announced that she would help him manage the restaurants. She was very uneasy because she was getting close to him without being monitored, fearing only that she might confess to the hero that he had been driving at the time his lover was killed. When he got scared, he decided he would destroy the hero himself once he learned the truth, though he didn't know how. He convinced Shaun that if she wanted the hero to let go of the heroine and return to her, she had to make the board approve the sale of the restaurant chain he managed, so he would have nothing left at all. She actually convinced them to do it. The hero objected, so they chased him outside. He returned to the restaurant sad and found the heroine sitting, preparing a new sauce to place alongside the food. He felt she was incredibly kind and was about to approach her. At that moment, Das saw them, got angry as well, and walked away. Of course, in the end, she distanced herself from him, so he acted normally and began tasting the sauce. When his birthday came, he made her sing for him just as he had seen her sing for a little child in his restaurant before. She did so without knowing it was his birthday, and when she finished, he left happy because his assistant had filmed them together celebrating. The next day, he took her to a wealthy lady to invest in their restaurants. If she agreed, the restaurants wouldn't be sold, and Shaun and Das's plan to destroy him wouldn't succeed. But the problem was that when they arrived, the person covering the location began challenging them in the investment. The heroine prepared the new sauce and presented it, saying she believed anyone who tried their food would always love it and return, so they wouldn't lose anything on the investment. It was good reasoning, but Das intervened as well. The lady said to them, "You're bothering me, leave this place," so she did not agree to invest, which pleased him. The heroine told him, "Thank you, every time you prove to me that you're even more despicable than before, so I won't regret it and will destroy you." She went with the hero, who arrived and saw her friends determined to have dinner, so he sat and spent time with them and his assistant. When the heroine's gathering ended, she continued working alone preparing sauces. Meanwhile, the hero monitored the restaurant's sales, feeling a bit depressed. Then his assistant told him what Das had done to the heroine, deliberately keeping her away from his son, and also causing her father's death, which angered him greatly, and he decided to scold himself. He said, "You're the reason, you were the one who ordered her to be tortured." The assistant replied, "Are you really a man? I mean, I'm telling you, she hates me, so I had her tortured. Do you really think you would go and torture your own lover?" Then he went to find Shaun and saw her making the heroine serve her and her friends as a form of humiliation, but the heroine didn't care. When they told her that the wealthy lady had finally decided to invest and had spoken with him about the sauce, she was thrilled and held his hand in celebration. Shaun became even angrier, asking Dossie because she knew the heroine had come to dislike him, and he did indeed scold her. When the hero tried to approach her and she moved away, he didn't understand why. Afterwards, trying to avoid him, she went to work as usual. At that time, she saw a boy wearing the same jacket she had sewn for her son before, which brought back memories of her child, and she tried to calm him until his mother came and took him. She entered trying to soothe her emotions and cried for her son in the dressing room. Then the hero came and gave her the investment contract, saying, "Give it to Das because he is now the legal head of my father's company and must approve it." She took it to him. She said, "He won't approve it," and he replied, "This rudeness is unbelievable." He asked her, "What will you say to him if I was the one driving?" She said she hadn't reached that level yet, but if he wanted to expose her, she would expose him, which made him very angry. Then he told her he wouldn't approve it because the hero's father wanted to file a lawsuit against him for hitting him because of her. She pleaded with him not to file the case, doing so to protect the hero who had been exhausted all along. She went to care for him, and as soon as he woke up and realized what she had done, he went to her and said, "Don't do anything else on your own." She told him she was worried about him and trying to protect him. He was very happy about her concern but said, "Don't belittle yourself." He didn't know that Xian had planned a humiliation, complaining to her father-in-law, who was the hero's father, because the hero spent all his time with the heroine. He took her home and told her to stay away from his son. When the hero found out what was happening, he came and took her back, but his assistant blocked him. She went out alone, encountered Das, who was pleased to see her, and told her she would never be able to be by the hero's side and would live alone. She told him, "None of your business. At least you won't cling to your fiancé, who doesn't even love me and loves the hero." She walked away, and for the first time, the hero dared, in front of his father, to say that he would not lose the heroine as he had before because of him. He went to her, and when he arrived, he found her locked in the storeroom and unwilling to open it for him. He told her he knew the accident wasn't her fault. She said, "Even if I wasn't the one driving as you now suspect, I caused your lover and our son's deaths because I wasn't careful getting out of the car," and she cried. He cried as well. The next day, he caught her as usual while she tried to escape, prevented her, and brought her back to the storeroom, saying, "Don't be afraid, I'm with you." When he spoke to her, she went and showed him the wedding hall with the hero, telling her to stay away from him, which was better for her. While she was returning, he saw her spend the day with him, preceded by his assistant and her friends, who had been bothering him. When he realized she was still thinking about the heroine, he said to her, "Don't become such a terrible person like this." She continued crying because he never loved her the way she loved the hero. The heroine decided to expose him in front of his family. She took a file proving his crimes, showing that he had been the one driving the car and was responsible for what happened in the street. When he saw her at his family's restaurant, he joined them in conversation and took her outside. But the file remained in the restaurant, and his father saw it too. He was shocked and told him he had never raised him to commit such an act. Furious, he yelled at his father, saying this man had become a despicable person and would not return. Then he turned to the heroine, begging her to let him go. Her friend, overwhelmed with emotion, had suffered great humiliation, and he decided to take revenge on her through the hero. He told her that if she didn't stay away and stop pursuing him, he would reveal the hero's and his company's secrets, but the hero didn't care. He told her to continue exposing him, and she did what she had to. Soon, his company was involved in a bribery case, but he ignored it and waited for the heroine, telling her, "Don't worry no matter what you hear about me or my company." When she heard the news, she went to Das to demand that he stop his greed and audacity. He replied, "And you will still destroy me. I'll destroy your beloved." They then entered the investigation with a discussion involving her father. When it ended, the hero confronted him, saying, "You're despicable for killing your father-in-law," and, fed up with him, added, "Look, how about I kill your lover too? I was the one driving the car, the heroine went to prison in my place, and you're weak. Just as you lost in the past, this time you'll lose the heroine." This provoked him greatly, and he went to check the surveillance footage, finding that the recording was from the hero's assistant's car. He remembered sending her to the cafe 5 years ago to find her, and his assistant had passed by the heroine's car, thinking her fiancé was driving, not her. At that moment, he realized she had been wronged. He went to her and found her at her father's grave. She decided to separate from him because her stepmother told her that being close to him would ruin him, and he needed to marry to protect himself. She resolved to leave him, yet she spent the entire day with him, cooking together in the royal restaurant. When she woke up, he found she had gone. Since she had left the hero, she decided to expose this man, who had also become accused of accepting a bribe, planning to speak to the press. He stopped her, and his mother entered, telling her, "Don't reveal my son's secret, and I'll tell you where your son is." Everyone was shocked when she revealed that San, the heroine's son, was alive, not dead. When she asked about his whereabouts, one of their old neighbors told her that her daughter had not given birth, so she gave the boy to her to raise as her own son. He effectively became her child, the same one she had seen in the restaurant, and she wept bitterly. When Doss learned this, the heroine said to him, "Why are you crying? You're despicable and didn't even verify with your mother when she told you the boy was dead, because you wanted him dead and didn't care." At first, she wanted to take the boy, but when she saw how alive and happy he was with his new family, she decided to remain silent and postpone revealing the truth to him. She took Doss with her to watch her son in another family's arms, joyful with them, telling him that because of his greed and hard heart, he had lost all of that. For the first time, he felt regret for all he had done and began to cry bitterly, but by then everything was out of his hands. Even Shaun eventually decided to marry the hero, since he and the heroine had separated, hoping he would love her as she loved him, but it didn't happen. She ultimately decided to separate from him and follow her heart, sending him messages. Meanwhile, the hero, before returning to the heroine, decided to change. He told his father to send any branch of the company far away, and if it succeeded, let him be with the heroine freely. They did so, and it succeeded greatly. When he returned, the heroine had also succeeded with her bakery. His assistant became involved with her friend, and his sister became involved with the assistant's older brother, who had formerly been the family lawyer. Despite their age differences, they were happy together. The man was finally convicted of all the crimes he had committed, the heroine cleared her name, and the hero returned to her. They were together at last. Here we reach the end of the video. Don't forget to support us by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel.